The city breathed a heavy, cold sigh. A thick fog rolled through the canyons of steel and glass, clinging to everything it touched. It muffled sound, it distorted light. Towering skyscrapers vanished into the low-hanging clouds, their peaks lost to the night sky. Below, the streets were slick with a constant drizzling rain. This rain collected in puddles that reflected the city's only true colors, the harsh electric glow of neon signs. Hues of angry red, cold blue, and sickly green painted the wet asphalt, creating a world of shimmering yet hollow beauty. A pale, cloudy moon struggled to pierce the oppressive atmosphere, its light a faint, ghostly whisper. In these forgotten alleyways, life persisted. Not human life, not anymore, at least not out in the open. The shadows belonged to the strays, the survivors. Here, a lone figure patrolled his domain with a quiet confidence that defied the city's despair. He was a dog of considerable size, a mix of breeds that spoke of resilience and strength. His fur was a patchwork of dark greys and blacks, matted by the endless rain, but what truly set him apart was the glint of technology, woven into his very being. One of his eyes was not flesh, but a cybernetic lens that glowed with a soft, crimson light. It scanned the darkness with an unnatural precision. Strapped across his broad shoulders was a harness. It was not leather or nylon, but a strange, otherworldly metal that seemed to absorb the light around it. Intricate, glowing blue circuits pulsed faintly along its surface, a piece of alien technology that hummed with dormant power. This was not a mere pet. This was a guardian, a sentinel forged in the crucible of this fallen world. He moved with a purpose that was both ancient and futuristic, his paws making almost no sound on the slick pavement. His every sense, both organic and enhanced, was tuned to the rhythm of the city's sorrowful heartbeat. The air, already thick with mist and decay, suddenly grew heavier. A low, guttural hum vibrated through the ground, a sound that did not belong to the city's usual mechanical symphony. The dog, whose name was lost to time but whose legend was just beginning, froze. His one natural ear swiveled and his cybernetic eye narrowed, its red light intensifying. He lifted his head, sniffing the air. It carried a new scent, a scent of ozone and something utterly alien, a smell that promised nothing but invasion and destruction. The city held its breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop. The source of the hum appeared. It descended from the impenetrable cloud cover like a predator emerging from murky depths. A spacecraft, sleek and dark, hovered silently above the street. It was shaped like a sharpened shard of obsidian, its surface absorbing all light and reflecting none. A hatch hissed open on its underside, bathing the street below in a sickly green beam of light. From this unnatural glow, 3 figures descended. They were not human. They were insectoid in form, tall and slender, with multiple spindly limbs that clicked ominously on the wet concrete. Their carapaces shone like iridescent beetles under the neon glare. These creatures moved with a chilling, synchronized purpose. Their large, multifaceted eyes scanned the empty streets, searching for prey. Their heads swiveled on thin necks, taking in every detail of the desolate urban landscape. One of them emitted a series of sharp, chittering clicks, a language of cold, calculated intent. They were hunters, and this ruined city was their new hunting ground. The very air around them seemed to crackle with hostile energy, a palpable threat that sent a shiver through the very bones of the metropolis. They moved past derelict cars and shattered storefronts, their shadows stretching long and monstrous in the green light from their ship. From the corner of his eye, the cybernetic dog saw a flicker of movement. Huddled inside a rusted, old-fashioned phone booth were a group of smaller, terrified dogs. A scruffy terrier, a lean whippet, and a few frightened pups pressed against the glass, their eyes wide with fear. They were trapped, their whimpers swallowed by the vast, indifferent city. The aliens had not spotted them yet, but their methodical search pattern was bringing them closer with every passing second. The cybernetic guardian understood his purpose in that single heart-stopping moment. He was their shield. He was their only hope. Without a sound, he positioned himself between the approaching aliens and the phone booth. He lowered his body into a defensive stance, a low growl rumbling deep in his chest. The hair on his back stood on end. The blue circuits on his alien harness began to glow brighter, pulsing in time with his rapidly beating heart. He was 1 against 3, a creature of flesh and steel against beings from another world. The odds were impossible. The outcome seemed certain. But in his glowing red eye there was no fear. There was only a fierce, unyielding resolve to protect the innocent. The aliens finally noticed him. Their chittering stopped. The lead creature tilted its head, its multifaceted eyes focusing on the lone dog. It raised one of its long, scythe-like arms and pointed. In that instant, the world seemed to slow down. The rain fell in individual glistening drops. The neon lights blurred into long streaks of color. The alien lunged forward, its movements impossibly fast. But the dog was faster. He dodged to the side, a blur of fur and metal, as the alien's clawed limbs sliced through the air where he had been, striking sparks against the pavement with a loud shriek of metal on stone. The fight became a brutal, elegant dance. It was a clash of instinct and technology, of primal fury and cold alien logic. The dog used his agility, weaving between the creature's attacks. He was a shadow moving through other shadows, his cybernetic eye tracking their every move with superhuman speed. He lunged, snapping his powerful jaws, but the alien's carapaces were too strong. Sparks flew as his teeth scraped against the hard, chitinous armor. The air filled with the smell of ozone and burnt metal as one of the aliens fired a small energy projectile from a weapon on its arm. The blast missed, hitting a nearby fire hydrant and sending a geyser of water into the misty air. The battle was visually stunning. Harsh light from the hovering ship cast deep dancing shadows that twisted and writhed like living things. The mist swirled around the combatants, illuminated by the flashes of energy bolts and the crimson glow of the dog's eye. Every impact, every near miss was amplified in the tense silence of the night. The dog was a force of nature. He used the environment to his advantage, leaping off a pile of rubble to gain height, using the slick ground to slide under a sweeping attack. He was fighting with a raw, heroic effort that was both beautiful and terrifying to behold. He knew he could not win a battle of attrition. He had to end this, now. As 2 of the aliens closed in from either side, he saw his chance. The alien harness on his back began to hum louder, the blue circuits flaring to an intense, brilliant light. As the creature struck, he activated the device. A powerful concussive wave of energy erupted from the harness, not as a weapon of destruction, but as a focused blast of pure force. The wave slammed into the 2 aliens, sending them flying backward through the air. They crashed into the third, and all 3 tumbled into a heap of clicking limbs and shattered armor. The downed aliens scrambled to their feet, disoriented and damaged. They chittered in alarm and began a hasty retreat toward the beam of light connecting them to their ship. The dog was not finished. He gathered all his strength for one final desperate act. He broke into a full sprint, his powerful legs churning. He ran directly at the green beam of light, just as the last alien was being lifted into the vessel. He leapt, his body a projectile of pure determination, and sunk his teeth into the creature's leg. The alien shrieked, a high-pitched sound of pain and surprise that echoed through the empty streets. He was pulled upward off the ground, dangling precariously as the ship began to ascend. The harness on his back flared one last time. It unleashed a targeted energy pulse, a concentrated stream of power that traveled from his body through the alien and directly into the ship's energy core via the transport beam. A catastrophic chain reaction began. The ship shuddered violently. Its green glow flickered and died, replaced by angry orange explosions that blossomed across its dark hull. The dog let go, dropping 20 feet and landing with a heavy thud on the roof of a wrecked yellow taxi below. Above him, the alien ship erupted in a massive, silent fireball. The explosion lit up the entire city block, momentarily chasing away the fog and the darkness. Rain and fiery debris rained down. For a moment, there was only the sound of the fire and the hiss of water on hot metal. Then slowly, cautiously, doors creaked open. Figures emerged from the shadows of ruined buildings. Human survivors who had been hiding in basements and back rooms stepped out into the street. They had seen it all. They saw the lone dog standing proudly on the broken taxi, his silhouette framed by the burning wreckage in the sky and the ruins of their city all around him. A single person began to clap. Then another. Soon the sound of applause filled the street, a sound of hope in a world that had forgotten it. It was a raw, emotional tribute to the silent guardian who had risked everything for them. The dog stood tall, his cybernetic eye dimming slightly. He looked over the small crowd of people, his gaze filled with a quiet, powerful dignity. He was more than just a stray. He was more than a survivor. On this night, in the heart of the neon-drenched dystopia, he had become a legend, a hero.